Hey from YouTube, this is Rabbi speaking. With something I don't normally do. I mean, I've done some videos where I've done things I don't normally do, but this is going to be something a bit different though. This is going to be this is more like a first impression video because I've only seen like the first 3 chapters of this manga right here. This, if you don't know what this is, you may think the art style looks a bit familiar though. You may be like, huh, that looks like that one show, Inuyasha, or that looks like Rama 1/2 or something else. Well, the reason why is because this show, well, this series is created by Rumiko Takahashi, who also created the series I've mentioned before, like Rama 1/2, Inuyasha, Utsureyatsura, which I have not mentioned before in this video, of course, but I am watching the anime though, so I'll talk about that in a later video. This manga series right here is called MAO, which is the latest series that Rumiko Takahashi is working on right now. It's in the weekly Shonen Sunday. I think that's what you call it. I've only seen like the first 3 chapters of this series, and it's pretty interesting though. What is it about? Well, it's about a girl named Nanako, I think it is. It's like Nanoka. So I think I'll just say Nanoka, whatever. Anyway, so Nanoka is seemingly a normal girl, until one day she goes through this gate apparently, like she was just walking through town or whatever, and she just happened to be in a totally different world. So this kind of sounds kind of like an isekai, maybe even like Inuyasha, which we'll talk about a bit more later. But anyway though, she goes through the gate, not a different world, but a different time. She's in the Teosho period, whatever. I can't pronounce it, guys. Again, I'm sorry with pronouncing these things, but basically she's in the year 1912. And when she's there, she meets a guy named MAO, the title character, who's kind of like an exorcist. He basically fights these supernatural threats, and he goes on the adventure with Nanoka, of course. So yeah, another similarity with Inuyasha. So like, what's the difference between this and Inuyasha? Well, it seems like a darker series. It doesn't seem like where Inuyasha kind of started off lighthearted. Like, just a bit lighthearted, though. It wasn't, like, fully lighthearted. I mean, it did have its dark moments, but this show, this series right here kind of starts off really, really dark. It doesn't start off like, hey, we're gonna have some lighthearted moments. We're gonna have some really funny moments. No, this starts off like something that Rumiko Takahashi is not used to doing. It's because this has some similarities to some of Rumiko Takahashi's previous works, like Inuyasha. Doesn't mean it's gonna be exactly like Inuyasha. I mean, maybe this is something that Rumiko Takahashi wants to improve on. Maybe Inuyasha was just like, hey, you know, it was great, but it had its flaws, so I'm gonna improve on that with MAO. So that could be the case, though. Maybe this is her like 6th series, though, like 6th weekly series, because like I said before, her first one, Utsureyatsura, then there was Mason Ikuku. She did that on the side. She did like Utsureyatsura and Mason Iku around the same time, so we'll get into that in a later video. She did Rama 1/2, which was her 3rd. She did Inuyasha, then another series called Rin-ne, I think it is. It's like a slice of life series, but I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video as well. Again, I'm not good at pronouncing these things. And then MAO, which is her 6th, like I said before. So you gotta give her credit for like still being in the manga industry though. Like, after all these decades and everything, she's still in her game though. Like, she's not done yet. She still wants to tell stories, as you can tell by reading this series right here though. So you gotta give her credit for that though. So I applaud her for that though. Of course, the 2 main characters are MAO, the title character, and Nanoka. This being a first impression video, we don't know a whole lot about them, or the chemistry that they're gonna have later. I mean, some people are probably already guessing, including myself, that they're gonna fall in love, because that's the direction that Rumiko Takahashi always takes when it comes to a male character and a female character as the 2 leads. Yeah, that's usually the case though. Utsureyatsura, Rama 1/2, Inuyasha. They all have followed this pattern though. Even though that these three shows have their differences, they always have that element though. And that doesn't make it a bad thing at all though. I mean, as long as you do like the romance in a totally different way though. So maybe this relationship between these two characters, if they do fall in love, maybe it'll be in a somewhat different way though. Maybe, I mean, you just don't know though. You just don't know unless if you have already read through this series and you already caught up with the series. I think there's like 85 chapters out or 86 chapters as we're speaking right now. So maybe these two have gotten closer already though. I mean, don't spoil me though. Don't spoil me, please though. Do not spoil me in the comments, please. I beg you. But yeah, though, these two have given me a good first impression though as main characters. I'm curious to know more about them. Like Nanoka just seems like that girl that's not annoying, but is also curious of what's going on and a little freaked out. Whereas MAO just seems like a pretty chill dude though. Like he doesn't seem like that kind of character that shows much emotion though. Inuyasha was just kind of a jerk when you first met him though. He was kind of I guess kind of a villain though, because he didn't really care about much at all. So, and Kagome, she was kind of naggy and stuff. I mean, of course she was like that throughout the entirety of the series, but that's the first impression you got of her. And that wasn't a bad thing at all, though. I still enjoy those two main characters a lot, though. If you've seen my review video, that is, you know how I felt about those two. Got to put this on the microphone before I started recording, so back to the video, the first impression. Let's talk about the art, though. The art, as always, Rumiko Takahashi knows how to draw. I mean, the only thing about Rumiko Takahashi's art that's a bit distracting for me is that some of the character designs look a tiny bit similar to her previous works, of course, though. I mean, maybe that's usually the common thing for manga artists, though, when they come up with a new series, though. It's hard for them to come up with new character designs. I mean, one of the controversial things when it came to Eden Zero was that the characters looked like fairy tale characters. But, I mean, we got used to it though, so if I can get used to the character designs in Eden Zero, I can get used to the character designs in MAO though. I mean, one of the twists though, when it comes to the art though, that MAO has though, that looks kind of different from some of the other previous works, is that with this being a darker series, as what it seems, it definitely has that gothic feel though. I mean, when things are dark though, like, she really makes sure how to draw that though. Like, I mean, you really know that when you see a dark scene, it's gothic. And another thing though is that, like, she knows how to draw monsters though, but when it comes to these monsters though, they always look like they're menacing though. They always look like, hey, this is a horror. And the show kind of feels like a horror series. Which, I'm not usually into horror at all, though. I'm not usually into stuff that tries to scare me. But this series, though, even though it doesn't really scare me that much, it still looks entertaining, though. I mean, I have seen series, though, that do look a bit scary, though, in the past, though. Even though I'm not a big horror fan, I have seen some in the past, though. And maybe this one is going to be entertaining for me. Like, maybe this will be the horror that I tolerate the most, at least. I would talk about more about this series though, but I'm gonna save some of the other stuff for later though. I feel like I need to read more and more of this, and then maybe after I read most of the chapters, like say at least 100 or so, I feel like I can give you more of my full opinion on this though. But I just want to give you the first impression though. I just want to get you an idea of what you could get into, and if you keep reading this series though. Like, that's another thing though too though. Are you planning on reading this series? Have you already read it though? Are you reading this like week to week? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe, so that way you get more videos like this every time I upload. I'm Rob A, and may the anime force be with you.